Hello, and welcome back to the British Accent Podcast. I'm Emily.
And I'm Nick. And today we're talking about something that goes far beyond grammar or vocabulary. We're talking about what it means when learning English feels like starting over. Like a kind of rebirth.
It might sound dramatic, but for many people, learning English isn't just about a new language, it's about a new life. A second version of yourself. One that begins the moment you say your first word in a language that's not your own.
And that beginning is powerful. Because it often comes with discomfort, yes, but also with possibility. When you start learning English, you're not just adding something to your mind. You're reshaping how you see yourself, and how you see the world.
We've heard this from so many learners. They say things like, in English, I'm not the same person. Or, speaking English gave me a fresh start. And maybe you felt that too, that strange, but beautiful sense of becoming someone new.
So in this episode, we want to explore that feeling. The idea that learning English isn't just about communication, it's about transformation. About rebirth. About starting again, in a language that gives you space to grow into someone you've never been before.
And maybe that's why it feels so emotional sometimes. Because it's not just your voice that's changing, it's your mindset. Your sense of identity. The way you think, the way you connect, the way you dream.
Exactly. And when we say rebirth, we don't mean leaving behind your native language or culture. We mean expanding into a version of you that didn't have room to fully exist before.
For some people, English feels like freedom. The freedom to express thoughts they couldn't put into words before. Or to speak more directly. Or even to start fresh in a place where no one knows who they used to be.
And that's something incredibly powerful. Because language has memory, and when you speak a new one, you start building new memories. New associations. New stories.
And in those new stories, you get to shape yourself differently. You get to choose how you want to be seen. How you want to sound. How you want to feel when you speak.
It's like you're not just learning English, you're learning who you can become in English. And that process, slow, sometimes frustrating, is also deeply human. Deeply creative.
It's vulnerable too. Because you're starting over. You might be intelligent, articulate, expressive in your first language, and suddenly, you're using simple sentences and feeling unsure.
But that doesn't mean you're less. It means you're growing. Rebirth always comes with a bit of mess, a bit of discomfort. But it also comes with hope. With new beginnings. With becoming.
And there's something really brave about letting yourself be a beginner again. Especially as an adult. It takes courage to speak slowly, to forget words, to feel uncertain, and keep going anyway.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes this kind of rebirth so meaningful. You're not starting from nothing, you're starting from you. From all the life you've already lived, but now, you're learning how to live it again, in a new language.
And maybe this new version of you is softer. Or bolder. Or more playful. Or more focused. Whatever it is, it's valid. You're not being fake. You're evolving. You're responding to the world in a new way, through new words.
There's something poetic about that, isn't there? How every new phrase, every small success, every awkward conversation, is like a tiny step toward the person you're becoming.
And the beautiful thing is, no one else can define that for you. Your English doesn't have to sound like anyone else's. Your journey doesn't have to follow a straight line. Rebirth is personal. It's not about perfection. It's about presence.
It's about showing up, even when you're unsure. Choosing to speak, even when it feels messy. Trusting that every effort is shaping something new inside you, even if you can't see it yet.
And over time, those pieces come together. You wake up one day and realize, you're not just speaking English anymore. You're living in it. Thinking in it. Feeling in it. Becoming someone slightly different, and maybe even more you than before.
And maybe that's the quiet magic of language learning. It doesn't just help you connect with others, it helps you reconnect with yourself. With the parts you've outgrown, and the ones you're still discovering.
You start asking different questions. You start noticing how you carry yourself in conversations. You hear your own voice, and sometimes it surprises you. In a good way.
Like hearing strength where there used to be doubt. Or calm where there used to be panic. Or humor where there used to be hesitation. These small shifts, they're not small at all. They're proof that you're transforming.
And the most beautiful part is, you don't need to rush it. Rebirth isn't fast. It's slow and quiet and full of ordinary moments that change you without warning.
Moments like ordering coffee and feeling understood. Or explaining a feeling without stopping mid-sentence. Or simply saying, "This is me," in English, and meaning it.
It's not about being flawless. It's about being real. Honest. Present. Brave enough to sound unsure, and strong enough to keep going anyway.
Because the person you're becoming through English, they are not a stranger. They are not an imposter. They are you, with new layers, new words, and new courage.
And maybe that's what makes learning English feel like a rebirth. Not because it changes who you are at the core, but because it lets something emerge. Something that's always been there, but needed a new voice to come through.
And that voice might be gentler at first. A bit unsure. But with time, it starts to carry the weight of your truth, your ideas, your feelings, your stories. Even if the sentences are simple, the message is powerful.
Because there's something incredibly honest about speaking in a second language. You don't waste words. You say what you mean. You let go of the filters, and what's left is real.
And that realness, that rawness, it's part of the rebirth too. You might not have all the words yet, but what you do have, you've earned. Every word you know in English is a word you chose to learn. A word you carried with effort and intention.
Which means this version of you, the one who's growing in English, is not accidental. It's deliberate. It's meaningful. It's yours.
So even when it's tough, when you feel stuck, or tired, or like your progress isn't visible, remember what's really happening. You're not just learning English. You're creating something new inside yourself.
Something that no one can take away from you. A voice you've built with your own hands. A way of expressing yourself that is uniquely yours, in a language you weren't born into, but have chosen to step into, again and again.
And that choice matters. It says something about who you are, that you're willing to feel uncomfortable, to try, to grow, to fail and try again. That's not just learning. That's resilience. That's transformation.
And even if your sentences aren't perfect, even if you pause or stumble, what you're doing is something extraordinary. You're building a new life, word by word, and you're doing it while carrying your old one too.
It's not always easy. There are moments when it feels like you're standing between two versions of yourself, the one you were, and the one you're becoming. That space can feel a bit lonely.
Yes, but it can also feel full of possibility. Because you're not trapped in who you used to be. English becomes a kind of bridge. Not just to other people, but to your future self.
And every day that you choose to cross that bridge, to open your mouth and speak, to read something new, to listen even when it's fast, you're walking further into that new life you're building.
A life where you get to tell your story in more than one language. Where you get to rewrite old fears, speak new dreams, and become someone you hadn't quite imagined before all this began.
And maybe that's what rebirth really means. Not starting from nothing, but starting from now, from where you are, with who you are, and moving gently toward who you're becoming.
So if you've ever felt like learning English is changing you, you're right. It is. And that change isn't something to hide or fight. It's something to honor. To slow down and appreciate.
Because you're not just building sentences. You're building a life in a new language. And that takes courage, softness, and patience, all the things that make growth real.
Thank you for being here with us on the British Accent Podcast. We hope this episode gave you permission to see your English journey as something more than a task, something human, something transformative.
And wherever you are on that path, beginning, rebuilding, or starting over again, know that you're doing something deeply meaningful. Keep going.
We'll see you again soon. Until then, be gentle with yourself, and proud of the new self you're creating through every word.
Take care.